مشيري نبي مع ثواب ونوت أمين. This is the lessons for the high school grade of the Mahragan Keraza Coptic language. I want to remind you that in order to follow with this high school level, you have to have reviewed very well the Keraza KG, Keraza 1, 2, Keraza 3, 4, 5, and Keraza 6, 7, 8 Coptic lessons, so you can follow up with this lesson. This is the common Coptic alphabet, the Alpha Vita. And now here, this shows the origin of the Coptic alphabet. It has been explained in grade 6, 7, 8, but I'm going to briefly go over it again. That the Coptic alphabet, the writing that we write our language with, went through different stages. It started with the hieroglyphic more than 5,000 years ago, and the hieroglyphic script was a little bit complicated because it started as pictures of the things that they want to express a writing for, but gradually it changed into a phonetic thing where each character stood for a sound, but the number of pictures and that present different sounds were a very, very large number. It was more like artistic things, but it went through stages from hieroglyphic writing, which has the full picture of an animal or a house or a plant or whatever, into an outline, which was then called the hieratic stage of the writing of the Egyptian language. And then from the hieratic stage, we went to the demotic stage, where the number of characters were very much reduced, but still it was very large number that's not very practical. But demotic was the language in which the selling and buying things was written as the contracts and things like this. And from this demotic stage, we took 7 letters that went into the Coptic alphabet. But the bulk of the Coptic alphabet came from the Greek letters. Now the Greek letters had their origin in the Phoenician letters, and the Phoenician letters had their origin in the Proto-Semitic, which was based on the hieroglyphic script, and the hieratic script actually also contributed to this. And so the Phoenicians developed their alphabet based on the Proto-Semitic, which was based on the hieroglyphic. And it was a small number, but it has the disadvantage that it didn't have any vowels. It's like the Arabic now. No vowels in the language. The Greeks took this Phoenician alphabet and changed the names a little bit, the shapes of the letter a little bit, but the names were not changed much. For example, the letter A, which is in Phoenician Aleph, which means the head of the cow, or the Greeks took this word Aleph and made it Alpha. The next letter was Beit, which means house, and they called it Beta, and so on. So the Greek shape and names of the letters are essentially the Phoenician letters. Now the Greek letters represented a good base for the alphabet, and this is the one that we used. We took all the Greek alphabet, the 25 letters of the Greek alphabet, and because in the Greek language there are certain sounds that were missing, so we took 7 letters from the demotic alphabet, and this constituted the Coptic alphabet. So the 32 letters of the Coptic alphabet, 25 of them were taken from the Greek, which is derived from Phoenician, which came Proto-Semitic from hieroglyphic, and the other 7 letters are derived from Demotic, which came from hieratic, which came from hieroglyphic. In other words, all 32 letters, they have their origin in the hieroglyphic alphabet, 25 of them through this path, through the Greeks, and the other 7 letters from the Demotic letters. And this slide here shows this, that the first 25 letters are from Greek through eventually the hieroglyphic, and the last 7 letters from Demotic, which also is from the hieroglyphic. Now I want to remind you of certain conversational nice words. When you want to say hi, it is nofri. You want to say hi Sayyidina, you don't say hi Sayyidina, you say nofri penib. Hi Abuna, you don't say hi Abuna, you say nofri penyod. Also the words ugay and ugay cheneb shois. Now we would like to go over a pronunciation of a very specific letter in our alphabet, and that's the letter K. The letter K is derived from the Greek letter K, which is in Greek. It has several ways to pronounce, but when we took it, we took the pronunciation that is K. So actually, this letter in Egyptian Coptic words, it's always like a K, but in Greek letters, the pronunciation is different, and sometimes it's K, sometimes something else. We would like to go over the pronunciation, that we should note that the Greek words found in the Coptic liturgy, we have 2 kinds of Greek words. We have Greek words that are part of pure Greek hymns that are included in the Coptic liturgy, like Doxa Patri and Agios Otheos. These are pure Greek hymns, and they are taken as a whole, Greek, in the Greek language, in order to retain the non-Coptic Christians at the time when we translated the liturgy from Greek, because St. Mark brought our liturgy in Greek, and we translated to Coptic, but we did not want to translate everything into Coptic, otherwise the non-Coptic Christians would not understand the liturgy. So the church kept certain hymns in the Greek language so they can still feel part of the church, and they should not feel alienated from our church. So this is one kind of Greek words. The other kind are the loan words that all languages took from the Greek language, certain words like the word deacon, the word martyr, the word apostle. They are taken in all language, including the Coptic, and these we call loan words, that they became part of the Coptic language. So these loan words, I want to discuss the way we pronounce these loan words. In English, when they borrowed this word, the word diakon from Greek, they did not keep saying it diakon, but they applied the English pronunciation and they pronounce it as deacon. You cannot go to an English person and tell him, well, when you say deacon, this is wrong pronunciation. You should pronounce it like the original Greek diakon, because it is a loan word, and now it's considered as if it is an English word. They apply the English rules of pronunciation and they say it deacon. The same thing should apply to our loan words that we took from the Greek. For example, there are 2 words, psiki and evki. Now in Greek, they have different pronunciation, but we cannot say, well, we are going to pronounce it as sh or whatever. We should pronounce it the way we write them in Coptic, and this letter in Coptic is K, so these words would be pronounced psi and f because, as I said, these are loan words now, although they are of Greek origin, but they are now Coptic words as loan words from the Greek, so we should apply the rules of pronouncing by the Coptic pronunciation. So the bottom line is psi and f would be a more appropriate way to pronounce these two words. Now we are going to discuss the verbs, and in the level of 6, 7, 8, we discussed the present tense. Here we are going to have not only the present tense, but present, past, and future. And also as a separate column, we have the negative past tense. So the present tense, future tense, and past tense, and the negative for past. And why do we have this column for negative past? Because there is no simple rule of saying the negative past, not like the present and future. Present and future, you keep it the way it is, and you just add the word on at the end of it. Like ti eshlil, I pray. Ti eshlil on, I don't pray. And the same thing with the future. But with the past, you'll find that it is different. I eshlil for the past tense, but the negative past is not I eshlil on like others, but there's a new form which is MP eshlil. And that's why we have this column for negative past tense. But as I said, for present tense and future tense, the negative is done very simply by adding on at the end of this word. So in this slide here, we have the I and we, which is the first person, the one who is speaking, whether it is a singular, it is I, or plural, we. How do we say I pray, or how do we say we pray? I pray is ti eshlil. We pray ten eshlil. And we discussed this, as I said before, in the grade 6, 7, and 8. So you should go over them in that grade. For the future, you take, all what you do for the future is after the present article, which is ti and ten here, you add na. So here, ti na eshlil means I will pray. Ten na eshlil, we will pray. With the past, a little bit different. It always, as you can notice, it starts with the letter A. So I eshlil means I prayed in the past. An eshlil, we prayed in the past. And the negative for these is this column here. So I eshlil, I prayed. And then here, MP eshlil, I did not pray. An eshlil, we prayed. Pen eshlil, we did not pray. The next slide goes to the same four tenses as we discussed with the I and we. And here it is for the word you. You, as we said before in the possessive articles and all these things, we have three yous in Coptic. You when you are talking to a boy, you when you are talking to a girl, and you when you are talking to plural, a group of people. In English, all of them are you. They don't change it. But in Coptic, we have different articles for each one of them. So for the you eshlil, if it is a boy, it is ek eshlil. For a girl, it is te eshlil. For a group of people, you pray, te ten eshlil. Now the future tense is very simple because it is the present tense with na after it. So here the present tense, when you say you pray for a boy, ek eshlil. In the future, it is ikna eshlil. Or what you do is this, add this na. So ek eshlil, ikna eshlil. For a girl, te eshlil, it should be te na eshlil, but they change it to te ra because te na would confuse you with the ten na for the we. So that this has to be a little bit different, so you can tell this is addressing a girl that you will pray. It would be te ra eshlil. And for the plural, the present te ten. For the future, it is te ten na with the na added. So it's very simple here. The past, as we said before, they all start with a, with the alpha. But for the when you are talking to a boy, telling him you prayed, it is ak eshlil. For the girl, it is are eshlil. For plural is aretain eshlil. The negative for the past tense is here empek eshlil, and for the girl it is empe eshlil, and for the plural empetain eshlil. I'm going to be giving you a list of different verbs so you can practice these. The next one would be the third person, which is he, she, and they. And the first column here, the present tense, and as I said, this we have discussed in the grade of 6, 7, and 8, so you have to review it. But in essence, it is here for the present, it is F eshlil, means he prays, S eshlil, which means she prays, and Se eshlil, they pray. For the future, you add na. It's a simple, very simple rule. So instead of F eshlil for the present, is F na eshlil for the future. S eshlil becomes Esna eshlil, and Se eshlil becomes Sena eshlil. Now for the past, as we mentioned also, again, you should notice it all starts with the alpha, and for the boy, we are talking about a boy that we are saying he prayed, it is af eshlil, af eshlil. For a girl, it is as eshlil. See, notice that it's the same letter which is here. It's like here, like here. It's the S sound for the girl, F sound for the boy. So af eshlil, as eshlil. For the plural, it is av eshlil. And for the negative of the past tense, af eshlil becomes empef eshlil. He did not pray. For the girl, instead of as eshlil, empes eshlil. For the plural, instead of av eshlil, it is empu eshlil. Empu eshlil. Now let's cover this. Now here, just I'm reviewing the negatives for the present and future. Or what you do, you add on, or you add an n before the article and on after the verb. So these are the examples for this. If I want to say in the present, they pray or they are praying, then it's say eshlil. They are not praying, say eshlil on, or en say eshlil on. The other example, the future, this is the present, the future, sena eshlil for the action itself, that they are praying. The negative would be sena eshlil on. They will not say eshlil on for the present. It will be say eshlil on. Here it's going to be sena eshlil on for future, and or en say eshlil on for the present, and sena eshlil on for the future. Now I have examples of verbs that you will practice to do all 4 columns with each one of those. for everyone. You start with I and we, like su'un, ti su'un, I know, ti su'un an, I don't know. For the future, ti na su'un, and then for the past, I su'un, and then the negative past, mp su'un. And you apply this to all these verbs, su'un, to know, hemsi, to sit down, osh, to read, o'om, to eat, nahti, to believe, khel khel, to snore, eskhai, to write, and so to drink. This needs from you an effort to go over all the different forms, doing all different, like I, we, you, he, she, and so on. These are an additional list of verbs that you should go over them with all four tenses that you know that you have. The first one, ti esvo. Ti esvo means to teach, and chi esvo, to learn. Ti means to give, and chi, to take. So here, when we say ti esvo, in other words, I'm taking learning, and here chi esvo, to teach, means I'm giving learning. Chi, to give, and ti, to take. U osht, to worship down. I, to come, and ismu, to bless. Here, shepahmut, to give thanks. So you can say ti shepahmut, I give thanks. Ten shepahmut, we give thanks, and so on. Soti, to save or redeem. And the last one, hos, to sing or chant, host. Now we are going to start another subject, but before that we're going to give few conversation words as a review, which is nofri, hi, ogai means by, shepehmut means thanks, and immun ehli means for nothing. It is the answer to thanks. When somebody tells you thanks, in English you say you're welcome, in Coptic you say immun ehli. So shepehmut, thank you, immun ehli means the answer for it. Now we're going to start with the numbers. The numbers, they have a long story, but to make this story short, that the numbers at the time when the Coptic, in other words, the 1st, 2nd, 3rd century, 4th century, and so on, all languages, they were using their alphabet as numbers. And this is whether it is, these are the Copts, they use alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and so on as numbers. The Greeks use it this way. The Arabs also, they have the alphabet, their alphabet as numbers, and the Hebrews. No, in this curve here, I'm showing the different languages and the numbers that you used to use. In the Coptic, they use the alphabets. For 1, they use the alpha. For 2, they use the beta, the gamma, delta, e, su, and zeta. The Greeks use the same, because the first 26 letters are from the Greeks, so the Greeks were using the same thing. The Arabic, they were used what's called abgad hawaz for numbers. The first letter, it should correspond to the A, is 1. The second letter, B, which is like the Vita, and the B in English, it is 2. And the third one, the G letter, G, is 3. And so Abgad means 1, 2, 3, 4, and Hawaz 5, 6, 7. In Hebrew, the same thing. Also the first letter, Aleph, it was 1. Beith is 2. Gimel, which is pronounced like G. But notice all of them the same, almost the same pronunciation. Like with number 1, it's always the alpha or aleph or this thing. The number 2 is the B sound. Number 3 is the G sound. Number 4 is D sound, and this applies to all of them. 7, also the Z sound, like zeta, abgad, hawaz, and alpha, beta, gamma, delta, e, su, zeta. So this was the system that was used by all cultures to put numbers that they use their alphabets. And this changed with the Phoenician sailors. The Phoenician sailors developed a nice set of numbers which we use until now in English when you write 1, 2, 3, and so on. This is what the Phoenician sailors used to do. What they designed certain figures with a certain number of angles. I'm going to show you this here. So the first figure, as you can see, they put a figure with one angle in it, and this would denote number 1. The second letter, it has how many angles? 1 and 2. So this stood for 2. The third shape has 3 angles. So, and this stands for 3. The next one has 4 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. The next one has 5 angles. The next one 6 angles, and this stands for 6. 7, they used to write it this way, with a line at the middle and line at the bottom. And when you count the angles, there are 7 angles. That's why it is 7. This one was written this way, and it has 8 angles. And this figure here has 9 angles. And this shape, how many angles does it have? It has no angles, 0 angles. And that's why 0 is this shape, because it doesn't have any angles. Now this system was developed by the Phoenician sailors, and then they spread it all over. And after that, all the people, all the cultures in the whole world started using this system that I said is based on what the Phoenician sailors did. Here I want to show you the shape of the letters, or the numbers in the Coptic alphabet, with the way they used to write it at the time of the manuscripts, when they're writing manuscripts. As you can see, the whole system of letters was composed of 3 columns of 9 each. So on the first column here, we have 1, 2, 3, up until 9, and this is the alphabet going alpha, beta, gamma, delta, e, su, zeta, eta, theta. This represents the first group, which represent the ones, 1, 2, 3. Now the next 9 represent the tens. We have the iota, kappa, lavla, me, ne, xco, p, and here there's an exception. Instead of rho, we have the phi. It doesn't matter too much which shape, but they. And this is the tens. So the first one is 10, the second one is 20, third one is 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. So if we want to say 11, you would take this 10, this letter here, and put it with, if we want to say 19, this one with this one would be 19. Meet and psit here. The third column represents the hundreds. So the first shape would be 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900. But I say this is the system that was suitable for manuscripts and things, because people did not have at that time the system that was developed by the Phoenician sailors. So here I have the same curve, but without the letters, in order to know the names of them. So 1, how do you say 1 in Coptic? 1 is Y. 2 is Isnav. 3 is Shamt. 4 is 2. I'm going to read all of them because you need to know these. So Y for 1, Snav, 2, Shamt for 3, F2 for 4, Etu 5, Sau for 6, Shashf for 7, Ishmin for 9, for 8, and Psit for 9. So this is the column of from 1 to 9 represent the units. This is the tens. So the 10 is meet. Meet means 10. Gut means 20. Map is 30. Ihme is 40. Tevi is 50. Se is 60. Eshve means 70. Hamne is 80. And Pistav means 90. And then the last column is easy because we don't add new word except the word she, which means 100. Now 200, it is snav, she. You take this word here from snav, which means 2, and say it is 200. She is 100. And the same thing, you will find that all these words here are the same in this column, they are the same here. So the ones that you really need to memorize would be this first two columns. This column for the ones and the columns for the tens. And if you memorize these two, you can very easily get this column, and you would be very easy for you. Now, how do we read this? When 12, as I said, it is meet isnav. You get it from the table that this one, so it's meet isnav. 24 would be gut if 2. That's the way it was written in the manuscripts and things they would write it this way. So 24 is gut if 2. 49 is ehmepsit. 50 is tevi. 72 is ve isnav. I have some more number here. 100 is she. And you notice here 100 is written in 3 digits with the new system. In the manuscript it will be one letter. The she is a row, and that's it. Here 111 would be she meet uy. The next one 318 shomte she, which means 300. Meet ishmin. 200 snav she. 666 so she, say so. And then 969, which is the age of Methuselah, right? Psit she, say psit. There is one thing here which I want to discuss that's very easy if you know the numbers, and this is the names of the days of the week in Coptic, how they are said in Coptic. So the days of the week, it is the number of the day. As you know, Sunday is the first day of the week, and 1 in Coptic is uy. Sunday, because it's the first day, it is puy. So in other words, literally it is the one. Monday would be the 2, p esnaf. Tuesday is the 3, p shomt. And then Wednesday would be f2. Thursday would be the 5, which is p etio, because etio is 5. Friday is the 6, which is p so. And Saturday the 7, p shashf. So these names are very easy if you know the numbers. Then Sunday is puy, the one. Monday is p isnav. Tuesday p shomt. Wednesday p f2. Thursday p etio. Friday p so. And Saturday p shashf. There are some other names who sometimes use them for Sunday and Friday and Saturday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they have different names too. Like in the Sunday, would like sometimes to call it the day of the Lord. P-E-H-U in te ipshois means the word of the Lord in Greek, and sometimes we borrow this word from the Greeks. We call it Kyriaki. Kyriaki means the day of the Lord. For Friday, it is the day of preparation for the Saturday, which is the rest day of the Jews. So it is P-E-H-U in te pisofti in Coptic, and in Greek it is paraskevi, in Coptic P-E-H-U in te pisofti. Saturday, we use the Hebrew word. This is from Hebrew, savaton, which means rest. So savaton, or P savaton, rest. But the Coptic names, one more time, they are essentially the numbers with the definite article P and gives you the now we are going to go over the signing over the cross and Jepiniot briefly, like we did in the previous grades. So how to sign the cross in Coptic: Tschenefran emefiot, nem epshiri, nem piepnevma, eth owab, onoti en oot amin. And then when we start saying Jepiniot, here we usually say, before we start Jepiniot, Aretain en emepsha in gos chen u shepehmot, which means let us make us worthy to say with thanksgiving or thankfully the following, and then we start our Father heart in heaven. So let me go over it. Aretain en emepsha in gos chen u shepehmot. جي بنيوت تخن في قوي ما رفتوفون جي بكران ما رس إي إن جتك متقورو بيت هناك ما رف شوبي أما فريتي خين اتفي نمهي جنبي كاهي بن أويك انتي راستي مي فنان انفو ووه كاني اتيرون نان ايفول أما فريتي هون انتنكو ايفول إني اتي وون انتان ايرو Owo imperenten ahun epirasmos, Allah nahmein evol hapi petho gen per Christos isos penshois jethok te timet uro nemtigom nempio sha'ini amin. And this concludes the high school level of the Mahragan Keraza Coptic lesson. Ugai manamerati ugai chenep shois.